The entire purpose of this particular webinar is to walk you through what you can expect the day of the contest, and then to play around with some issues that might have cropped up or might crop up and how you can handle them. As always, we have our handy dandy little PowerPoint that we are going to go ahead and share. And Patricia is going to start us off. And as you know, it is Patricia Hamilton and myself. We are your district contest co-chairs. We welcome you to this webinar. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. We are going to be talking about contest chairs. What's it going to look like the day of the event? The chief judge. And then we're going to do a walkthrough of the day of the event, and we will talk about unique contest issues. To get us started about the contest master, please welcome Patricia.
Good evening, everyone. I trust you're excited because you are now in action. You are the contest master. But I have a few tips I'd like to encourage you to use as the contest master. You should have your folder with your information that will help you to keep on track and that everything flows smoothly. You should have all of your materials with you, and that should be your certification, your eligibility, originality, your timer's record, just to ensure that if anything or anyone needs any information, you have it in your folder. And it helps because as time goes on, you're gonna need to refer to some of the information. So you would have all the materials, you'd have your contest script ready, and your raffle tickets, your stationaries, your pen, your pencils, and your signs clearly marked, so persons can easily find their way around. And so as the contest chair, you are the captain of the ship. You ensure that your team is in place, and you would have arrived 2 to 3 hours early. So your room is takeout, and you have everything in place. As the contest chair, you ensure that the microphones are there, the podium, the lectern, and it is set up so that the contestants and whoever needs to go to the podium has easy access. And then after you would have staked out and check out the room with your team, you are now ready to ensure that your contestants are prepared for briefing. And so as the contest chair, you meet with your contestants to ensure that there's proper pronunciation of the names. So if there are any awkward names, you want to be sure that your contestants share with you the proper pronunciation of their name, because you don't want to give someone else a different name during the contest. And then as you sit with your contestants, you are going to draw the speaking position. And this can be done in several ways. When you do, you can utilize a deck of cards, and you clearly display or ensure that the contestants understand if you're going to use an ace as the highest, and then you have your numbers as that. Or you can use straws. You can have short or you can have long, or you can simply just print out numbers and have your contestants draw their position. And so they understand when they draw the position where they stand as a contestant. And it's important that you share with your contestants, providing that the person that won the contest, after they move from the club and now they are at the division, at the area, and maybe the winner is not there, but the runner-up is there, and it's there for the actual debriefing. It is important that you understand and you make it clear to the contestant. If that contestant arrived before the contest began, according to the rules, and we say the rules that we follow is the contest rule book. And it's important that you review all of the contest rules in terms of how they are going to speak and how they're going to approach and deal with everything. So you, the contest chair, have the opportunity to ensure that your speakers understand the contest rules as well as the evaluation. And so this is where they complete all of the forms, the eligibility forms, and you would have gotten that in our package. And you could bring it up again, Louis. That will be for the contest, for the evaluation note for the evaluation contest. And so this is the sheet that will be utilized to make your notes for that you will share. And the other form is your eligibility and originality for the speakers that they will fill out. And this could have been done in advance, as we shared with you earlier. You could have sent this to them and they could have brought this in already completed. So you're just gonna ensure that it's done correctly and they signed it and they understand in terms of originality and what can happen if the contestant or members in good standing. You would have cleared all of that. You would have ensured that the dues are paid and that their club is in good standing, and you would have done that online. We have shared that with you at our last session, how you can check the eligibility of a contestant, and it's done on the Club Central. And the eligibility, you will find there's a link that you can click on and you can put in the name or the number, and you would have received that earlier. So this is just a formality now at the contest because you are now ready for action. So all of this should have been cleared and these forms are done and they are signed and the contestant is ready. And as your contestant chair, you keep everything smooth. You smile and the smile becomes infectious. You ensure that your team members make everybody feel comfortable during this time. And then you're gonna move on after this is done and your contestants, you're gonna go through the timing, the protocol with your speakers. And we know for the evaluation contest, their speakers, we know that they would have to speak for anything less than an hour and 40 minutes. We know.
A minute.
A minute. Yes, a minute and 40 seconds, 30 seconds. We know it's a disqualification. So you make sure that they're aware of this and that they will not speak for longer than 3 minutes and 30 seconds. So you ensure that during the humorous speech time that you ensure that when you speak to your contestants that they're well aware of the timing aspect and the light come on at green and then it goes to the amber and it stays on at 3 minutes until the contestant is finished, and that the timers will give no signal except the timing light. And so you would have tested the timing light, they're aware of this, and so you now would speak to the contestant. And so it's the same thing that would happen with the lighting, the 5 minutes, the 6 minutes, and 7 minutes. It stays on red until the contestants is finished, and that will be for the humorous speech. And so as the contestant chair, you ensure that if there are any questions, you are able to answer, and then you're going to explain to them the speaking area. So you will take them and share with them the microphone and the lectern, and you will determine based on the availability of the area that the lectern is set, you will give them the diameters of the area that they can go from left to right, and that how far they can go to the front of the lectern. If it's marked, as you see the picture show you, some of us are fortunate to have that, some of us don't. So you have to work with the area and ensure that your speakers understand that they're going to use. And if you're using a microphone, you want to ensure that it works. And if you're using lapel, that you have someone assigned who's going to be able to put it on and take it off. And the good thing is that you want to, if you have it with you to test, because different voices, modulation, persons speak a little bit softer. So you want to ensure that your contestants feel comfortable with the method and what is going to be using, and that there is sufficient lighting. Also at this time, you want to ensure that your contestants understand if they have props. And this should have been discussed earlier, that they inform you about it. And so that's when you would use your sergeant at arms. So with your sergeant at arms, you ensure that they know the contestants who would be utilizing props. And it has to be set up before, and they have a few seconds to get it on, and off a minute to set it before, during the break, as the countdown for the speaker to set it up. And when the speaker is done, the sergeant at arms would remove it during the break. And so your sergeant at arms play a key role in also protecting your door, the entrance and your exit. Okay, so they're able to assist your team of greeters who are meeting your guests. Also, you have your personnel who would have been seating your delegates, your special dignitaries. And so your sergeant at arms is aware of their seating arrangement that has been made, and they provide you with the 5 minutes warning. And it's important because you want to keep a smooth flow within your contest. And after all of that would have been shared, and your contestants would have met your sergeant at arms would know the contestants, the sergeant at arms would know who the chief judge is, and so you are now ready. And so your sergeant at arms now would ensure that you have your program, and so you identify who would be calling to order and which sergeant at arms would be escorting your contestant, especially for the evaluation, because for the humorous speech, the contestants are allowed to sit in the room. It's only during the evaluation that the contestants would be out and they would have to be escorted in. And also your sergeant at arms give you that 2 minutes warning when it's time to reconvene. And if needed, you would use them to assist you with the presentation of certificates. So it's important that your sergeant at arms is well aware, is an experienced Toastmaster, and is ready to help you. And remember that you keep the smile, because you have to ensure as the contest master that everything runs smoothly, and you can't do it alone. It takes a team. Everyone have a role to play. And so for the day of action, you have to wing it if need be. You have to ensure that everything runs as smoothly. There will be some bumps, but you have to just let it roll off and just do the next step. And so now Lewis will take you through with the chief judge, who is your partner in crime. It's not crime, but it's good crime. It's action time. Light, camera, action, Lewis.
Thank you, Patricia. The only thing I would like to mention is the sergeant at arms is not responsible for helping you get the contestants get anything up on the stage, that is fully a contestant's responsibility. So if they make a mistake, it's all on them and they can't blame the sergeant at arms.
Okay.
Don't let your sergeant at arms help put things together because they're supposed to be hands off, just kind of an FYI. I know we want to help everybody, but keep that tucked in the back of your mind. Here we are, the chief judge. What a nice role, chief judge. Chief judge had to go out and help get some of the judges in the area, and they are the only one that knows the super secret, nobody knows, tie-breaking judge. But the chief judge has a lot of responsibilities. They should have the judges briefing in a separate room off to the side. They will do the following. They will talk to the judges and give them the speaking order of the contestants. They will provide the judges' guide and ballot. They will provide a copy of the rule book, and they will need to get the certification of eligibility and code ethics signed by the judges. Here is a copy of it. You fill out the top, put in the date, and then they have to sign at the bottom, basically that they're an ethical individual, and the chief judge holds on to this. From there, they review the speaker's area that Patricia mentioned earlier. They look at the judge's guide and ballot and explain it in case there's any questions. And they instruct the judges to try and sit as close to the front as possible in case there's a malfunction with the microphone or anything else, or let's say the speaker has a sore throat. The closer they sit, the better off they're going to be able to hear. So that's important that they're nice and close. Have the judges sign the judge guide and ballot right then and there. I cannot tell you how many times as a chief judge or a ballot counter, I have sat there and looked at these ballots and it had to be disqualified, that particular ballot, because it wasn't signed. Something so simple. I would also recommend that you have a bunch of pens with you in case your judges don't have them. So if you have to have 6 judges, have 10 pens. Just make it nice and easy. This is the judge guide and ballot, and as you can see at the bottom is where you have the signature. There's also this little dotted line right here. I recommend that you, as the chief judge, cut that line right to about here so that when it's time to tear it off, they only have a tiny bit that needs to be torn off. It makes life simpler. Now there is a question with how to fill out the form. Do you fill it out with the pluses or do you fill it out with the minuses? Well, let's show you both ways and you decide what is the best way to do it. So here is a contestant. In both cases, it gets down to 88 points. In the first column, the judge is doing everything exactly the way they're supposed to. They said 13, 8, 15, and they gave points for every area. Then you have to pull out your calculator because these are a lot of numbers, and they have to start calculating how many points did this contestant get. An alternative, which is the one I use, is instead of adding up all these big numbers, I just subtract how many points I think I'm going to take away. So consequently, this is 15 minus 2. It's going to come out to 13 anyway. But the nice thing is I'm dealing with really small numbers, and a lot of times I'm not dealing with any numbers. It might be a 0. And I see I have a negative 12, subtract that from 100, and it's only 88. This is a much faster and efficient way for judges to judge. And I think once you get used to using the negatives, you too will discover that this is a really simple way.
Yes, it is.
Right? Patricia, have you ever done it like this?
Yes.
You have? This is how you do your ballots too?
It really helps.
It does. The other thing I would like to mention is when you get the contestant names, I put contestant 1 in the very last spot, and then 2, 3, 4, and I put them in this way. That way I can fold over the information that I had on contestant 1 and not continuously be looking at it. Because if I'm looking at it, I might not be judging them all by themselves. I don't want to see what I judged anybody else in that area. So by folding it over, it's a little more independent. At the bottom is where you place your first, second, and third place. You must, as a judge, fill out all 3 sections. I have to tell you, I have seen some very, very creative ballots. I have seen where they said on first place, contestant Jane and contestant George, nothing on second place, and they have a third place. You have to throw out the ballot. I have seen where they put a first and a third place, nothing in the second, you have to throw out the ballot. Or they've turned around, and I actually had one person fill in contestant number 4. No name, just contestant number 4. Your judges must put that in there so you can read it, and they have to have real names, not the lady in the red dress. Doesn't work. You got to have the contestant names. Take a moment as the chief judge to make sure they write the contestant names right here. Ballot counters. You are responsible as the chief judge to talk to the ballot counters. They have to go through the counter tally sheet, but most importantly, as soon as the contest is done as far as the speaking, the ballot counters connect with the judges. I would suggest at all times you introduce the ballot counters to the judges, and we know where everybody's sitting. So if you've got 2 judges sitting way over here, put a ballot counter right around them. And if you've got judges over here, put another ballot counter over there. Don't try and have a ballot counter assigned to a judge. If this is the ballot counter, don't make them go over here. Try and keep them localized. And of course, the chief judge is the only one that will collect the super secret tie-breaking judge ballot. Then you have to talk to the timers and brief them. Provide them a stopwatch, which most likely is going to come from their telephone or the contest master. Make sure they have timing lights, and they also have instructions 1175 to record the information on. Timer number 1 works the stopwatch, maintains and delivers to the chief judge the written record of elapsed time of each speech on 1175. So basically, they're the ones that are keeping track of the timing, and they're working the lights. I'm sorry, number 2, I think, is working the lights, and number 2 is also providing a prompt to the sergeant at arms for the 5-minute warning and all other necessary prompts. So I would also recommend, if you are the timer and it's your 1 minute between judging, that you give your contest master some warning. 5. That way your contest master knows that it's coming up and they are ready to go. Timer number 2 has a signaling device ensuring that each contestant is able to read an accurate green, yellow, and red signal at all times. Please check as the chief judge with the contest master to make sure if there is anyone that needs an auditory signal. If they can't see the lights, they're going to need to hear green, yellow, red. During the contest, you will collect the timer sheets from the timers, collect the tie-breaking judge guide and ballot, and at this point, you are going to resolve any eligibility or originality protests that may arise. This is your moment. Then you leave the room with the ballot counters, and you oversee the ballot counting process. You check it twice for accuracy. If you're not sure, check it a 3rd time. This is important. This is what the counter's tally sheet looks like. You put the name of the judges down here, excluding the tie-breaking judge. The names of the contestants down here. The instructions are written. For first place, that contestant will get 3 points. Second place, 2 points. And third place, 1 point. You total them all up and you figure out and all agree who is first, second, and third. Then on a separate sheet of paper, you give that information to the contest master. You will put it in 3rd, 2nd, and 1st place. So they're always reading the 3rd place first. Also, the chief judge will fill in, if you're at the area or club level and you don't have trophies, they'll fill it into the certificate. You provide a list for the contest chair showing the placement of the contestants. Oops. And now my part of Chief Judge is done. I'm going to pass it back to Patricia, who is going to walk us through an actual daily event. Patricia, all yours.
As the contest master, you're going to stick to your time. You're going to go by the agenda. You're not going to deviate. You're going to ensure that you follow. We know in the US, they do a lot of morning contests. In the Bahamas, most of our contests are held in the evening. And so it's basically the same timeline. According to that we are sharing with you, we're starting at 8 a.m. And so at 8 a.m. sharp, the contest briefing occurs and the judges briefing. And so you have alternate rooms. They will be utilizing the rooms. And so you go there and you start on time. So you have your judges and your functionaries briefing, your sergeant at arms. And so at 8:30, your door opens. So you would have done all your preliminary, and now your doors open, your greeters and your personnel are at the desk. If you're collecting funds for entering the contest, as this we do here in the Bahamas. And so you have your float and everything is moving accordingly. At 8:55, that's 5, get your 5 minutes warning, and that's where your timer and your sergeant at arms start counting down, because the actual contest is about to begin. And at 9:01, your ceremony, it starts, because your sergeant at arms would have been standing at the podium waiting for that countdown. And so you follow, you call the meeting to order, you welcome your dignitaries and guests, and you try to keep it to 3 minutes. You have your opening remarks, you review the reading of the rules, which lasts approximately about 3 minutes. At 9:11, your speech evaluation contest. 9:12, the introduction of your test speaker. And by 9:13, maybe 14, but that time, the test speaker is there. And so by 9:21, the contestants exit the room and they go to the room to make their notes from listening to the test speaker. And then the timer at 9:27, you know there's a minute of silence, and then it goes right on, and then your minute of silence, and then your contestant 1 will be called to the lectern. And so you're going to move on, and after each contestant, there will be a minute of silence until that is end. And at the end of all of your evaluation contestants, there is a 2-minute silence. So approximately by 9:52, you are thereabouts, you are there. And so after that is done, about 9:54, you're now gonna start your break. And so your ballot counters would have gone to the holding room, and then it's intermission because you're gonna break after the first evaluation contest. And so you're gonna break for approximately 10 minutes. And so you're going to ensure during that time, everything as the contest chair is running smoothly. And then there is your 2 minutes warning to begin the second part of the transition in session. And during this time, there is the review of the rules. And again, this should take about 3 minutes. And then it's now time for the humorous speech contest. And the announcement of the speaking order of the contest will be given. And so it gives the judges time to make their notation. And after that is done, there's the minute of silence. And after the minute of silence, it's the first contestant will be introduced. And after each contestant would have been through speaking, there is the 2 minutes of silence. And so at the end, depending on the number of contestants in the contest, and if it's a club, it's maybe about 3 to 4. If it's an area, normally there is about 4 to 5 contestants for the different areas. It all depends on the number of persons. And so the timing depends on the number of contestants in there. But after each one, there's a minute of silence. And then at the end, there is a 2-minute silence. So you're going to follow your program straight through the transition. And then there's the collection of the ballots. And then after the collection of the ballot, the judge takes the tiebreaker ballot and then the timing sheet. And after that, it's time to move to the holding room. The chief judge would move. And after the contest, there's another 10 minutes break. And during that break, the contest chair can utilize it to share information about the contestants, or can use it as a table topic session. You want to keep your personnel engaged, and so that the transition moves smoothly. So you utilize the time wisely. And as a contest chair, you either share information about your contestant or ask them a few questions, or you can use it to showcase the Toastmaster as a table topic session, because you would have guests in the room and you want them to feel a part. And so after the 10 minutes break, you get your 2 minutes warning, and then you resume. The chief judge by then should have completed his tally sheet and have the information and for you. And so during the time, like I said, you utilize the time wisely. You can ask for remarks from your district leaders or official representative. So that could take about 5 minutes. And of course, you utilize the time. You need some fun. And so your raffle sales is important. And you should have at least 2 raffle masters out there trying to push your sales as best as possible. And so as this is done, and then you would have gotten the information, you reach to the closing ceremony, and there is remarks. And the contest chair would have received the information from the chief judge and would have it in hand to announce the winner. But before you do that, because you know what happens if you announce the winner and didn't do your raffle, everything goes haywire. So you want to have your raffle winners announced. You're going to do your presentation of certificates to acknowledge your functionaries, but you won't do it for your judges. You will print their certificates, but you will ensure that they receive it. And then it's the grand announcement of your winners. And so this is done, and you announce your winners, and you ensure that you go according to ensure that there's no discrepancies. You want to ensure that you go by what was shared with you. And then there's the presentation of award. And so by this time, you're almost to noon if you're doing it during the day, and you have your photo chef session and your adjournment. And you must be sure that you have your photo shoot of your winners and your different dignitaries who are there. And after all of that is done, with all the excitement and in the Bahamas, we know at the end there's food, there's a lot of joyful celebration, congratulations, but your cleanup crew have to hang around with you and your team to ensure that the venue is returned to the way you met it. You want to leave it clean and everything is done. So with your team, the important thing is that that information at the end is recorded and it gets to the the division director, that it gets to District 47, to the public, to the PR individual, so that information can be posted, and all hands on deck would ensure that your building or the room you've rented or utilizing is returned to clean, green, and pristine. So you would have had an event that everyone was happy to attend. So as the contest chair, at the end of the day, that smile still have to remain on your face. Louis?
All right, thank you. I don't know if anybody noticed an inconsistency, but I just caught it. There are two. Right here, we say 1 minute of silence before the contest starts. In our scripts, we remove the 1 minute of silence because that is not a Toastmaster International requirement. And we also took out the 2 minutes of silence and just let silence until the judges are complete. So we will fix this and get this uploaded again, but I did not realize that we missed it here. So we'll make sure we get that fixed. All right, I am unmuting everybody because we're just going to play a game. So it's more fun if everybody has some input and it's not just me. So we're going to kind of do a mic check and let's see if we can hear everybody.
Okay, you got it. Okay.
Going to do a roll call. We'll see if we have everybody. Joanne, can you hear us? Can you say something?
Present.
All right, Tora.
Here.
Arlene.
I'm here.
And I have the Bahamas local.
I'm here.
Yay, okay, so this is meant to be fun, and when this is all done, we can address any issues that you have come across in the past and figure out how to handle it. But this is, oh, and I have, oh, okay, that's the bot. Actually, do I have a Betty on here also?
Did we miss Roll? He got disconnected?
I think he did. Talking about Derek?
Yes.
Let's see. Oh, Derek, are you still on? Susan, can you hear us? Susan?
They're muted. They aren't able to hear. They aren't able to respond.
Okay, so Aura, I got you unmuted. And Derek, I have you unmuted. Susan, can you hear us? Make sure Susan's unmuted. Okay, so her phone we can't access. All right, so everybody that has the ability of chatting with us, please do so. These are really questions that have happened to me personally in the past, or I have seen happened at other contests. So here we go. Where should the chief judge tell the contest judges to sit? Anybody want to answer that?
As close as possible to the speaking area.
Awesome. And for bonus points, do you know why?
In case there are any mic issues.
Okay. And I had, Derek was piping up too. Good job. True or false? If amplification is necessary, a lectern, podium, fixed mounted microphone, and a portable microphone should be available if possible.
True.
This is actually a trick question. It's false because it says if possible. We are required when we start getting up into the club and the division district area level, you have to have a microphone. So beware, if a contestant says they want a microphone, you absolutely have to have it. But it was a trick question.
So do you have to have both?
No, you could have either one.
Okay.
Before announcing results, the contest chair must announce what?
Disqualification.
Yay, thank you. Have you ever been in a contest where you did not hear that and
Yeah.
there were people disqualified?
Yeah.
It is not pretty. Let me tell you, it is not a pretty time. So you're absolutely right. I'm going to say it again because it's so important. You must announce any time disqualifications or say there were no disqualifications, period. You don't announce who, though. Please make sure you don't say who. You just say if there was or wasn't. This is a long one, and actually I found this in the rule book, and I thought it was very interesting. And I did have this happen in a division contest. If a contestant is absent from the briefing, the alternate speaker, if present, is permitted to attend the briefing in place of the contestant.
Mm-hmm.
Should the primary contestant arrive after the briefing, but before the person conducting the contest is introduced, the primary contestant is permitted to compete, provided the primary contestant reports to the contest chair upon arrival and has all the required paperwork and waives the briefing. Anybody want to
True.
guess? It is
True.
true.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So if that primary contestant shows up, as long as it's before the person conducting the contest is introduced and they've waived all their rights and they've checked in with the contest chair, they can be the primary contestant. I didn't know that. So that was something I learned this year. What happens in the event of a technical failure of the signal or timing equipment? Anybody want to guess? Okay, let's ask it this way. Does the speaker start all over again? And the answer
I think
is
they get an extra 30 seconds.
ooh, good job, Joanne. That is exactly right.
That was Joanne who said it, or who?
That was
No, that was Arlene.
Arlene, good
Yeah.
job. So the speaker is allowed 30 seconds extra overtime before being disqualified. And make sure your timers know that. They cannot start the timing over. Cannot. And that is actually in section G7 or page 14 of your rule book. And we actually had that happen last year in one of our, was it area or division contests? And the person stopped and demanded that everything be started over. And they didn't win, so it was okay. But had they won, there would have been all kinds of problems because they would have technically been overtime. True or false? Announcement of contest winners and final unless the list of winners is announced incorrectly, in which case the chief judge, ballot counters, or timers are permitted to immediately interrupt to correct the error.
True.
That is correct. We had a division contest where the winners were announced where third place came in first, second was second, and first place came in third. And the person running the contest would not listen to anyone else and said, well, I've already announced it and that's it. And it was not right. They could have changed it as long as they did it right then and there. And unfortunately, the first place winner left Toastmasters because they were so unhappy with the results. So make sure your chief judge provides that information properly. And if there's a problem, the chief judge can jump right in and say, no, you have it wrong. True or false? Contestants who choose to make preparatory notes during the test speech must use the evaluation contestant note sheet. Only one sheet may be used.
False.
Good one. How many, what's false about this?
You don't have to use the actual note sheet, as far as I know.
Okay, actually you do. That is the only thing you are allowed to use, but
Okay.
you can use as many sheets as you want. But
Okay.
so that means you as the contest master should have extra pages. If you've got 6 contestants, bring 12 sheets in case someone says, I need 2, you have them.
All right.
In contests with 3 or more participants, a 3rd place winner, a 2nd place winner, and a 1st place winner will be announced.
True.
True.
Last year, you only announced the 1st and 2nd place. Now they are announcing the 3rd place. If you only have 1 contestant, I have seen clubs where they say, okay, we only have 1 contestant, we're putting him through.
No.
That is not a true statement. You must still have that contestant give their speech, stay within their time, and then they are the contestant that's going to move forward to the area level. But they still have to go through the work. And the ultimate resource for all speech contests,
It's the
The rule book.
2018, 2019 rule book.
2019 rule book. But that's okay. We know it's this year. So there are 2 things that I have not mentioned. One, at the end of the contest, the chief judge does fill out a winner notification form that goes on to the next level. And at the Toastmaster International Convention, it was just agreed, and if you were on Facebook, you would have seen it. It used to be that at an area contest, you had to have 5 voting judges, 1 from each club.
Yes.
That has been changed to just say you have to have 5 judges, 5 voting judges. It's not 1 from each club. They would like that, but if you can't do it, that's okay. And at the division and the district, they used to say you had to have 1 from each. Again, they removed the subject to that you had to have it from the individuals. It's just that you have to have 7. They would like it, 1 from each, but it has been stricken from the rules.
Lois,
Yes.
this is Tora. The winner notification letter from the chief judge goes to the next level of
Yes.
the next level of.
So if you are at the club level, you will send it to your area director. If you are
Okay.
at the area director, you will send it to your division director. And if you are at the division director, eventually it's going to come to Patricia and I as the speech contest chairs, but you would be sending it over to the district director or PQD. Sorry.
So not the area, from the club to the
area.
to the area. Okay. Thank you.
Sure. All right, so this is now our Q&A time. We have 11 minutes, and it's really the time to answer any problems, questions, or concerns you've seen at a contest, things you thought were kind of hokey, you didn't know if it was right or not. This is your opportunity to get it all out there, so go for it. Do we have any questions?
I have a question. Do we have to have them complete the contestant profile sheet? The
Patricia?
contestants.
Yes, that can be done in advance. You can email it out to them during your conference call. You can send it out, and so you have it in hand, or you have it done while they're there doing your debriefing. But I
Okay,
advise
what do we use it for?
That's a great question. I was just going to tag on to the back of that. The contestant sheet actually says that they are certifying originality of their contest. So this is where they're
No.
saying, I am eligible, I'm a paid member, and my speech is not stolen from someone else in essence.
Right,
So
that's the
very
speaker's
common.
eligibility and originality. What about the contestant profile? Do we
Oh.
absolutely need that?
No, but
No.
here's why most contests use
the
it.
table topic session to
There you go.
interview the contestants during that break, that 15 or 10 minutes that you have to spare. So it gives you an opportunity to better know the contestant.
You know, I've seen clubs and contests that don't have the speakers fill out the contestant profile, and then it's just the Toastmaster or the contest master interviewing them going, how did you get started? Why did you ever decide to join Toastmaster? I mean, you can take it any way you want, but as far as the contestant profile, If they fill it out, it should make the contest master's job just a little bit easier, but it is not a requirement.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions?
Oh, I have one.
Sure.
Somebody told me that our club, we have basically three eligible judges. Someone told me that we can actually designate one of those judges as the tie-breaking judge, and that their ballot would be the tie-breaking ballot. They wouldn't need to fill out a separate tie-breaking ballot. Is that true?
You want to take that, Patricia, or shall I?
Take that one.
Okay. No, that is not true. You must have your 3 judges, and your tie-breaking judge has to be someone that not only is secret, but they have a different form. So the tie-breaking judge actually has to fill out all the names in order of what they, so if you have 6 contestants, their ballot is different. It doesn't just say 1 to 3, it says 1 to 6. So they fill out the order for all the contestants. So it's definitely different, and it cannot be a regular judge.
Okay, so the tie-breaking
Because-
judge must be somebody different.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
I thought I read something where it could be one of the judges.
I will confirm with Toastmasters International, but everything I have ever read was the tie-breaking judge is a unique judge. Because their judging form is so different. But I can follow up with them. Unless, Patricia, you know that answer off the top of your head.
I basically know the same thing that you always select a tie-breaking judge. Could be one of your seasoned Toastmaster. The person doesn't have to be from your club, but you always want to have someone that different in terms of to help you with the tie-breaking. So your 3 judges, and then you have your tie-breaking judge. If you only have 2, then you utilize the other person as your tie-breaking judge, but their form would have all of the contestants.
So are you
that
saying we
really
could use 2
that-
judges?
No, you should have your 3 judges at the club level, but you have another seasoned Toastmaster in your club that you can use as your tie-breaking judge.
We don't. We will have to get somebody from outside.
You can ask your area
only-
director or someone else to serve as your tie-breaking judge.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, they definitely say you have to have a unique tie-breaking judge.
Or somebody from the team who work with the area director. I'm sorry, she can help you, assist you with that.
Yep.
Or that's a good person to lean on.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, so we are in speech contest mode. We have less than 5 minutes to go. I want to thank you, Patricia. You've been fabulous putting this together. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We have already added a bunch of information up on the website if you haven't visited it yet. And you know what? I think I neglected to share my very last screen. I'm going to go back and share that with you. Your speech contest time, we are in it until September 30th. The area contests are going to be October 1st to the 30th, and your divisions are November 1st to the 7th. You don't need to be a know-it-all. You just need to know where to go. Your chairs are here for you. And Patricia and I have provided links for easy downloads. If you go to toastmastersd47.org, there's a blog button underneath education, or actually underneath contents. You can go to blog, and you can see all the contest materials you would ever want to print off right there. You can also review contest materials, which is other information. And you can watch the previous webinar. This webinar will be posted. And Patricia and I will also be happy to attend your speech contest if you wish, and be that extra judge. There you go. You might have an extra judge in Patricia if she's near you. I
Yeah.
just volunteered you, Patricia.
That's no problem. Once I'm available, I'll gladly assist.
Yeah, just give us enough advance notice.
Can you
And
be
there
in
we are.
Florida?
I'm in Florida, yes.
I'm in the Bahamas.
Ah, Lois.
Who was asking for the judge, Bahamas or Florida?
Florida,
What, do you know the date of your contest?
August 28th.
What day of the week is that?
A Wednesday.
Next week, Wednesday.
And you need one more judge, huh? Let me see.
A tie breaking.
I knew you were going to say that. I should be able to do that. So grab my information and email me and tell me the particulars, and I will be there.
Right.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. And it's West Pembroke Pines.
Yes.
So you're good, Ali.
So
Yes.
there you go.
Thank
See, this call was made for you.
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, send me the information so that I have it, because I have no way to get in touch with you. And
Yes.
other than that, we are wrapping up. Are there any other questions? Well, I am going to go ahead.
Seeing more posts and having some invites to the contest.
Well, we thank you for being with us, especially if you were here on night 1 and night 2. We sincerely appreciate your support. Anything you need, any questions you have, please give us a call, and we'll make sure that if we don't have the answers, we will find it out for you.
Definitely.
Patricia?
Thank you. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
All right,
night.
good night, everyone.
Have a great evening.
Same to you.
You all
Thank
too as
you.
well.
You're both welcome.